What's up, everybody in the VC? Craig here with a contest entry into Mean Mr. Mayo's 100 subs contest. First off, congratulations, dude. Well deserved. I mean, anybody that's a Beatle nut is a friend in my book, man. I'm a nut too. Definitely not as nutty as you because I don't have a huge 10-foot Beatle vinyl behind me, but still a nut regardless. So first off, congratulations, dude. Very, very cool milestone to hit. I'm speechless at this point, you know, because it just seems like every day I go on there and there's another contest for another user who's hit 100 subs, 300 subs, 500 subs, and there are people that I've never heard of. Like, I just don't have enough time to catch up on all the videos and just, I mean, I try to subscribe to as many channels as I can, but at the same time, there's my set people that I follow, and then I just kind of get lost in the scheme of things, and there's not enough time in the day to watch all the videos. Also sit on the Facebook page and catch up with everybody there, and try to make time for everything else in the world. So anyway, thank you to all these contests, though. I've been able to find certain people's channels. Like, I didn't know Maggie was a VC member until her contest, and I started, you know, following her channel and I tried to catch her videos. Same with Mean Mr. Mayo. I had no idea until your contest. And now I've been trying to catch up and watch some of your videos and wanted to get an entry into the contest just to have an excuse to shoot a video, show some vinyl, and just say some really kind words about a cool dude. So, VC cheer. Excuse me. And what's in the background? Not Beatle related, but another one of my top 5 favorite artists of all time, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Long After Dark. Why am I playing the CD? I'm in the living room. It's the only room I have with a CD player. Might as well listen to a CD. Love this album. If I did the album of the week thread, this would be on every single week. I love this album that much. So much that I think it's the only album that I've ever played in one of my vinyl videos twice. Because this one I actually think I played in one of my videos about last February, something like that. So, great album, underrated. Anyway, so Beatles. So basically the whole premise was to pick your top 5 favorite Beatles albums, and also solo related and stuff like that. Basically count them down, 5 being, you know, the least, 1 being the best, or however you wanted to look at it. I kind of approached it with a few solo. I just included all the other because I didn't want to do a video where I'm talking about the same 5 Beatle albums that everybody else is talking about. Like, I mean, some people will probably take a different angle and maybe talk about a different pressing, or, you know, UK or American pressings, and maybe talk about one particular artist. I don't know, however you want to look at it. For me, I just picked out a couple Beatle albums that meant the most to me, and they're both not really in any particular order. And then the other 3 are my 3 favorite solo albums. And they all pretty much are #1s to me, but if I kind of put them all, like, in order of what gets played the most, you know, like, they all get played a lot for the most part over the years, but I don't listen to a lot of Beatles music. I'm a huge Beatle nut, and I'll kind of go into that for a second. But I don't listen to a lot of their music. I mean, I've got everything. It's almost like it's embedded in my brain, so I don't have to listen to it. There's only certain stuff that when I get in the mood, I really want to pull it out and I'll listen to it, and that'll be about it. There's just some songs I don't need to hear again. As much as I love their music and I respect them and everything else, I don't need to hear I Want to Hold Your Hand. I don't need to hear I Saw Her Standing There. Great songs, good catchy pop tunes. I appreciate them, I love them, and they were, you know, the founding basis for me and my, you know, appreciation for the Beatles, but I don't need to listen to them all the time. Same with, like, Sgt. Pepper. I don't need to listen to that album. Occasionally I put it on, but I don't need to listen to it. I know it front to back. There's just those albums you don't need to listen to anymore. You just put them on if you need something in the background, or you really just want to get back into it. I don't know. I'm babbling here at this point. So, let's talk a little bit about my history with the Beatles real quick. It all starts right about when I was 9 years old and the week of Thanksgiving in 1995. Anybody that remembers back then, I know it's so long ago, almost 20 years, that the Beatles anthology was premiered on ABC that week. So part one, all in 2-hour part segments. So part one was on Sunday night, part two was on Wednesday night, and part three was on Thanksgiving. Now, at that point, I knew of the Beatles. I didn't grow up with any of their music or anything. Neither of my parents were really big Beatle nuts or anything, because they were a little bit, the Beatles were kind of before their time, so they were much more into the 70s and 80s and so on when it came to music. So the Beatles were known but weren't played or owned in the house. So I kind of had to do my own searching, and I really wasn't aware of them too much. I had seen A Hard Day's Night when I think I was about 7 or 8. And I rented that from the library and loved the movie, loved all the songs, but that pretty much, it kind of ended there. And I knew who they were, but there were so many other bands and albums that I was into at that point that they just kind of got shuffled and they weren't that big of a deal. I didn't realize how big they were until I saw the Beatles anthology and what kind of impact and the cultural sense and every nuance that kind of went into it. I mean, I really, really analyzed and watched that thing from front to back a lot. I mean, to the point where I can watch it now and I can recite it almost word for word. It's kind of ridiculous. I mean, who in their right mind should be able to recite a documentary word for word? But definitely well done documentary, and really impacted me on a lot of different areas, but mainly made me a Beatle fan and made me aware of, you know, Lennon, McCartney, Harrison, and Starr. And from then on, it just kind of splintered off, and then I discovered all these other artists. I mean, even they talk a little bit about, you know, their experience with Bob Dylan, his influence and stuff. That was my first time hearing the name Bob Dylan. You know, at 9 years old, and all of a sudden you're being flooded with all this information of all these artists and bands and all this stuff. I mean, from their 50s and early influences, early rock and roll, up through, you know, all the impacts. And I mean, that was the first time I'd ever heard the album Pet Sounds, and they're talking about the influence of Pet Sounds, and, you know, all these other artists that they worked with and knew, and like, I just got bombarded. So, and being 9 years old, you're very impressionable. So, if it would have been the Beatles, me getting hit with it now at 27, probably be a different story altogether. It'd probably be something I'd appreciate, listen to, and it'll be about it. I mean, it's really hard for me to delve into a band and really soak myself into it and buy everything and stuff like that. When you're 9, 10 years old, you're going out and you're just hitting the streets and wanting to get every little thing you can find. Now it's like that with some bands and certain stuff, and I get obsessed with wanting to find certain shit, but not to the point where your life revolves around it, you know, and you have all the time in the world to sit there and listen to it and watch it and just absorb. Don't really have that when there's a million other things going on in life now. But anyway, so basically from then on, I've been a huge Beatle fan, buying, you know, whatever kind of little memorabilia I can get. Almost every birthday and Christmas since then, so good 18 years of birthdays and Christmases, that every single one I managed to get some form of Beatles memorabilia, whether it be a t-shirt or whatever. Even sometimes music related stuff too, like actual like a CD or like vinyl I got, you know, for Christmas this past year. So, let's get right into this because I've been fucking babbling. We'll talk about Beatles first. So, my number 5 entry into this would be Rubber Soul. This is my Japanese pressing that I got for Christmas from my fiance. Why I picked this particular pressing is because of the track listing. The original, you know, album track listing, not the American one. This was the first first full-length Beatles album I ever owned. Actually, I have the CD here, my original CD, one of the first, I think, probably 25 CDs I ever had in my life. So, still in great shape for having it since June of 1996. So, great album. I mean, it's really the start of their, you know, kind of deeper songwriting and a little bit, not so much, well, talking about the craft of song. They had the craft of the pop song down. More the craft of writing, like, deeper material and exploring different instruments, you know, with the sitar and Norwegian wood and yada yada yada. I mean, we all know this album back to front. Very influential, one of my favorite album covers. Very good. So, that's number 5. Number 4, another CD. Let It Be Naked. Now, why do I choose this? Because I like this version of Let It Be way more than I like the original. I give the original credit, it's good, but I never even liked it when I first heard it. There were certain songs that I liked, but it just wasn't what I wanted. You know, I had seen the footage, you know, of them recording the album and everything else, and you see certain stuff and you hear certain bits and pieces and you're like, wow, this is really kind of raw, a little bit more, you know, back to basics, kind of like what happened with, you know, the White Album. And when you got the production that Phil Spector did, and just, you know, the versions that he chose and everything else, I just honestly don't like it. Even to this day, I still say I don't like that version of Long and Winding Road. I love the version that is on here so much more. And I've gotten into huge debates with people over the years. I mean, I'm not saying it's shit, I'm just saying I don't like it. I've never liked it, and I never will like that version, but I love this version. I love the track listing. It flows. I mean, Get Back, Dig a Pony, For You Blue, Long and Winding Road, Two of Us, I've Got a Feeling, One After 909, Don't Let Me Down, I Need Mine, Across the Universe, Let It Be. Killer track listing, and great sound. Well done. So, that does it for Beatles related stuff. Now on to the solo. Now, number 3, we're going to go with Mr. Paul McCartney and Wings, Band on the Run. Now, what needs to be said about this? Not a lot, because everybody's elaborated on it. It's an amazing album. I mean, we all know it. I badly need to upgrade this. I love this album. Great songs, well produced, Band on the Run, Jet, Let Me Roll It, Hell on Wheels, love that song. I think my favorite song off here has got to be 1985, which I had heard that song on the radio years before I'd ever heard this album as a whole, and I didn't even know it was a Paul McCartney song. I just thought it was a killer song. So when I finally started getting deeper into Paul McCartney's work, and I found out that was his song, I'm like, holy shit, this is a killer tune. And it's a Paul McCartney song, so very cool. Alright, next one, Mr. John Lennon, Plastic Ono Band. His first real solo album after the Beatles. And this album is just amazing. Very, you know, just sparse production on some stuff, and just great playing. It's not, you know, it's not bombarded with a bunch of different, you know, orchestral work and stuff like that. It's very just back to basics, you know. Working Class Hero, I Found Out, Well, Mother, Hold On, God. Great songwriting on this, and a killer album. And my last entry is going to be George Harrison. Now, got some stuff in the back, not really, you know, just to kind of show my John Paul, George, Ringo love, but my honorable mention will be Ringo. See it, Boku Blues. I know LJ talked about it in his video, so if you want a little more of a backstory on that one, check out his video. But great album, just not a top 5er for me. Good album, great album, love it. But this one takes the cake. Anytime I'm in a Beatles mood, in a George Harrison mood, in any kind of mood, this album always works. All Things Must Pass. Love, love, love this album. Such a killer listen from top to bottom. Great songwriting. Killer tracks. Let's just gotta pull this out real quick. Look, just, you know, killer songs. One of my favorite songs, bar none. I'd Have You Anytime. I love that song. But you've got My Sweet Lord, Wah Wah, If Not For You, Beware of Darkness, A Waiting on Your Wall is a great song. All Things Must Pass. This whole entire thing is just amazing. An amazing album. And, you know, I really wish I'd become much more of a George Harrison fan before he passed away. It really took him passing away for me to really delve deeper into his solo work, which I knew a small amount, but I didn't know all of his work. And once he passed away, I started really getting into all of his solo work, and I was just blown away. I'm like, oh God, wow. You gotta remember though, I was only 15 when he passed away, so then again, you know, can't absorb everything that early in life. So, killer album, highly recommend it. I'm surprised by anybody if they have not heard All Things Must Pass. Do yourself a favor, check it out. Great album. Not too hard to find on vinyl. Finding it for cheap though, and in great condition, good luck. This box is always torn up. Alright, I'm going to stop babbling. I'm going to end it here. I want to say congratulations once again to me, Mr. Mayo. You rule. Beatles forever. Congrats. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.